Alvin Brown Beats.
I like to take words from people. So if you give me like 3 to 5 words, I can give you a poem.
Care.
Care?
Success.
Joy.
Joy?
Positivity.
Success, positivity?
Disestablishmentarianism.
Positivity.
Communal support.
Compassion.
Okay. All right. Those are definitely enough. And if you think of something while I'm doing the poem, please say it and I'll incorporate it. All right. There's uncertainty in the air. There are times like this where positivity is the thing that keeps us pushing. We always learned how to find our pockets of joy. When chaos is around us, we've always found our heaven in the sense of destruction. We've found a way to mold, to create, to rebirth our idea of caring. Success is buried in the small, minute moments that we do, that we capture, that we allow ourselves to push forward, to see how much it is to exist inside ourselves. See, there are moments like this time and this moment we're in that the sense of care is what we extend our arms to when we ourselves don't have so much. It is allowing and having those positive conversations with everyone else. Discovering negativity and hate may be right outside the door or plastic on a TV screen, but we still find our moments to snap, find our moments to dance, find our moments to capture and hold on to those small, minute seconds that make us feel alive, that makes us not question everything around us. We found the positivity in the most confusion places. We tried to hold on to and capture those times where the world told us that the things we cared for didn't matter. Those times that joy matters as most. Will we speak hope? Will we have these detailed conversations of not what will happen after the quarantine? We'll talk about how we can capture joy within it. How can we reach out and care for the ones? How can we reinvent, invest ourselves? But most of all, how can we rest? How can we be? No reason to feel less than or not pushing forward. Finally having a conversation of self-care, allowing yourself to heal, speaking to your existence, hold to what it is to be inside yourself. There are those small moments of joy that helps us push ahead, that helps us see that yes, there's uncertainty in the air. But as long as I have a minute moment of positivity, I can see the reason why I wake up each morning.
That was it. Yeah. Woo! That boy 10,000 every time.
That was dope. That was dope. 10,000, you have any upcoming announcements or events or websites that the people can try to check you out at?
This coming up Thursday, me and my open mic partner, Bianca L. McGraw, we run an open mic series called Poetic Cafe. We run it every other Thursday. And we have a feature coming from California. Her name is Annette Davis. And so yeah, we'll do a feature. The open mic's about an hour. We just host it and run it. And then every Friday on all my platform, my Facebook and Instagram, which is 10,000 Poetry, I do a freestyle thing for about an hour where the whole experience is everybody giving me words. We build it around one concept or one idea. I do that every Friday. So yeah, that's about it.
All right, dope. So if everybody can give 10,000 another round of snaps or applause or whatever you feel.
Unmute those mics so we can hear it. We need to hear the applause. We need to get that energy going. There you go. Yeah.
There we go. Snaps across the world right now. Snaps across the world. New York City to Florida, we doing it. That's how we do. So up next is one of my best friends and a very special person. She is the CEO of Little People's Victory. It was founded in 2017 with the goal to spread love, healing, peace, and empowerment through the community. They do this using centered, holistic wellness and especially serve underserved communities. So for our focus discussion, if everybody can give a round of applause for Nicola Lalita Rodriguez.
Working on that accent, huh?
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. Thank you for that introduction. I think that pretty much covered it. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about restorative practices. So let me see if I can get my screen to share for you. There's like so many windows at once. All right, so we'll start with just a basic introduction of what is restorative justice. So very quick and easy definition is found like on the International Institute for Restorative Practices website. It says it's a social science that studies how to strengthen relationships between individuals and within communities. So in our language, what that means is first and foremost, this is a practice that, I don't know what I just did, sorry, that is rooted in indigenous cultures and beliefs about community. It focuses really on repairing the harm and rebuilding relationships when things go wrong. And it is really this idea of moving from a punitive structure to one that is truly focused on restoring the harm and seeing the humanity in the offender. Restorative practices focuses on these main questions. So I know this says restorative practices in school. We'll get to that because we do have a lot of schools and within our Buffalo public school system too that are implementing restorative practices. But the main questions are, what happened? What were you thinking about at the time? Have you been thinking about these thoughts since the incident? Who do you think has been affected by your actions and what way were they affected? And what do you need to know? What do you need to do now to make things right? So these questions are asked both to the affected party and the offender as well. So it's really getting at this idea of like this holistic relationship repair. And it also is pulling in this idea of coming from a place of empathy and compassion. So I put this slide in here to just give you a visual of where we typically come from, because what we're talking about with restorative justice and restorative practices is changing the way that this system is. So we live and breathe in a system, in a society that is punitive in nature. And so empathy and compassion exist on the exact opposite end of this spectrum. So if we look over here, we have this pity and this sympathy, things that you could be saying, such as like, oh no, that's such a shame that happened. I'm so sad. I'm so sorry you experienced that. And really where we want to be is on this other end of the spectrum where we're able to, excuse me, put a vulnerability into that. We're able to meet people where they are and connect with something within ourselves where we have also been in that situation. So instead of just looking down on people and, having pity for them, we're really saying, I thought this said, I want you to relive your suffering. Excuse me, sorry. This is, I want to relieve your suffering. So we really want to help people, but we're coming from a part within ourselves that says that, like, I feel you because I've been there, I've lived that too. And I understand that what you're going through is not the exact same, but I'm here for you. So what does this mean? So if you guys are tuned in last time, you know that I'm also a therapist. And so I work from a lot of different theoretical backgrounds of how human nature is, how human behavior is. And so this is one of the human behavior theories, and it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So basically what it says, we're all kind of familiar with like a food guide pyramid. And so we have these different levels before we can get to the top. So if we look at this as a pyramid, this is saying that we have different needs that need to be met before we can get to this self-actualization. The self-actualization is like, if you can envision the best part of yourself that you want to be. So the best version of yourself is really up in that self-actualization, where you can be creative and spontaneous. You can solve problems like there's no tomorrow. You really don't have any prejudice, or and you're really able to accept criticism, things like that perfect sense of self that like we're all aiming and aiming to become in our lives exists at that top level. But what this theory says is that we can't ever achieve that if we don't have all of these other needs below it met. If we don't have safety, security, and food, our physiological needs met, if we don't feel safe, if we don't feel safe in our body, if we don't have enough resources, if our communities, our neighborhoods are not safe, if we don't have the sense of loving and belonging within our friendships, our family, and within our partnerships as well. And so just a little plug for where we are currently within our communities. All of those are in jeopardy within this pandemic, right? Again, all of those are in jeopardy within incarcerated folks, within our reentry population. A lot of these are in jeopardy just being in a minority community. It really is a little bit crazy to believe that we could be our best selves, and we have so many things in jeopardy all of the time. And then not to forget, like, our self-esteem, our confidence, our achievement, our respect towards others, and being respected by others. All of those, this theory says that all of those need to be met in order to actually achieve the self-actualization. And so this also relates to restorative justice, restorative practices, because we are really building a different type of community. We're building a community that is rooted in care and restoring relationships, that is rooted in repairing harm that is done. And the outcomes that we've seen right now, like I had said earlier, we do have restorative practices implemented in a lot of our schools. And so schools that have been successful with this implementation have seen less bullying, have seen students have reported improved sense of safety, which has led to less violence, less fights, and overall improved academics. In our criminal justice system, this really honestly has not been implemented much, but in specific cases, and in specific cases where it was implemented, it's reported that it really is an opportunity to allow the hurt party an opportunity for closure and understanding, an opportunity to actually repair the harm that is done instead of just focusing on the punitive measures, and also has reduced recidivism rates. So it's reduced people reoffending once they re-enter the community. So you've heard me use both terms so far, restorative justice and restorative practice. And so I really want to be clear that there is a difference. So if we look at this photo over here, we have, again, I guess I'm just really partial to triangles for some reason, or pyramids. But restorative practices really is this green part of this triangle, where we are building community, we're developing social and emotional capacity. And so this is a lot of what we see going on in our schools, in our communities, where we're having talking circles. We are just trying to get to know each other. We're trying to set values and really build a community and build these relationships. Because if we don't have this base, kind of like we did in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if we don't have that base, nothing else can be achieved. I don't know why I keep drawing all over my stuff. I apologize. So, okay. So that has been a big issue, especially in schools that have implemented restorative practices, because they are skipping this huge base building step and going right up to the second tier here, which is managing the difficulties and the disruptions. So in a lot of our school systems, we're seeing problem solving circles being implemented without doing the building community part. And so how can you solve a problem if you haven't built trust? How can you solve a problem if you don't have a good relationship with that person? If you don't feel like somebody's got your back, how can that actually happen? And so systems fail when we don't put in the groundwork, when we don't do that labor. And then what eventually we all really would like to see have happen is this serious harm repairing. This is, that re-entry that we talked about, having folks that have been incarcerated for long periods of time, or not for long periods of time, re-enter our community. And how do we do that with care and support so that they're not demonized for the rest of their lives as well. So again, this is just another image that kind of talks about the same things we kind of just went over, which is that restorative justice is very different from restorative practices. So within the restorative practices, we have victim services, we have the offender responsibility, and then we have a lot of family-centered community resources. And all of those together is what really builds this restorative justice, because what we're doing is we're building a restorative system. We're building a system of care. We're really reworking the way that our systems are. And so in that, we have things like peace circles, we have family group conferencing, we have community conferencing. Those are the circles that we have been trying to implement in other areas like our schools, and they do not work because we haven't done this base building, this community building. They do not work because we're not looking at all of the intersections here of how we need support for the victim as well as the offender, as well as like actual reflective care for support for reentry and other things like that. And then other reasons why they may or may not work is that we work with this window, right? So and we can utilize this window in many, many different aspects of our lives, where we either generally do things to people, for people, with people, or not at all. And so restorative practices really gets at this idea that we always want to be working in this with window. We always want to be working with people to restore whatever harm or relationships need to be restored. And then that, in doing so, we have higher control with high support. If we are down here and we're just not doing anything, we have no control and no support. Punitive measures, like we exist in day to day, has high control, right? So we have absolute control over this offender now, but we don't have support. Or the submissive, where we're doing things for them, it's okay, I know better, I'll just do it for you. So they have no control, but they're totally supported. So how can we bring Nakia back? How do we actually focus on re-entry? We get rid of this. This idea that like, you can't sit with us, you did your time, but you're still like branded for life. No, like maybe you smell different now, I don't know. But we really need to check our bias and really, how do we get rid of this kind of mentality? So I said it before, probably 3 or 4 times already, and I'll say it again. We start with building our community. We build those relationships. We build intentional relationships with each other and with ourselves. We build our community values around relationships and relational labor, because if we are not doing the relational labor, we cannot have the type of relationships that will lead to a restorative society or restorative economy. And then remembering that window that we just went over, right? So when we are providing supports, when people are able to re-enter society, we want to not be just doing everything for them. We don't want to just ignore them. We want to actually work with them. We want to sit with them and ask them those questions, those restorative questions that we went over. And what do they need? And, just to like keep it real, check yourself and your bias, because we all have them. And the way that we act is a direct reflection of all of that. And love yourself and your neighbor. So that means like we're really practicing compassion and care and empathy for ourselves and others on a regular basis. There is no shortcut. There is no, if we just have circles in our community every week, everything will get better. It really is a complete paradigm shift. It really is thinking about the way that we think of society completely differently. And it really comes from this centering this place of care, compassion, and empathy instead of punitive discipline and hate. It really means turning everything that we know upside down. So I know I was kind of asked to go over like, what are some ways that we can work on this? And I don't have any short-term answers for you, because I'm not here to BS you either. It really is doing the hard labor, doing your own labor, looking at the things within yourself that are upsetting, and being able to actually have healthy relationships with people. When we have healthy relationships with ourselves, we're able to have healthy relationships with others, and we're able to build healthy communities. But right now we're in a time and a point where we need to dismantle and rebuild at the same time. And so within our reentry population and our criminal justice system, it is doing exactly that. Within our school systems, it is doing exactly that, because we live in a society that is punitive in nature, that is really pity and sympathy, you know, and that, like we had seen, is on the opposite end of the spectrum, where we really want to be working towards empathy and compassion. And I think, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So I thank you, and I'll turn it back.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments or shout outs? Now is your opportunity to be able to ask. If you've heard about restorative justice before, but not quite seen it in action, any questions at all, any thoughts at all, you can definitely share it, and you know, Nikki will answer to the best of her ability.
I have a question. This is Maurice. You hear me?
Yep.
I was wondering how many. I understood that the restorative justice in the school system sort of is a pilot project, and they're not widespread with it. Has there been any up? Well, it couldn't be that much update. But how many schools are they doing the restorative justice in the Buffalo public school system?
I'm gonna turn that over to our board member. Hey, Jen.
Hi, people. How you doing? Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, Jen.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good.
So the answer is that yes, it was kind of piloted in certain schools. I don't want to lie and say I know exactly what schools they were, but I know the number was around 6 schools. And what every school has been experiencing now is not is more along the lines of, you know, the meditation rooms, restorative practices, circles. This isn't just happening in those 6 schools. There's specific programming, specific kind of methods and measures that we're taking in those 6 schools so that we can apply this across the district. But we have been giving administration and buildings, and every single teacher, administrator has been trained multiple times in restorative, you know, practices and how to go about just, you know, bringing folks together. In my visits, I did a listening tour of my district, and then also speaking with other board members. When we go to the schools, it's, you know, not trying to be funny, and I'm gonna be real with everybody. It's always like a dog and pony show, right? For your board members, they roll out the red carpet and the whole nine. And it's, even though it was happening where they wanted us to see that circles are being done in classrooms, I would go in unannounced and see that that was also happening. So that was very refreshing to me. It's statistics, man. Like, you see it. Nikki wasn't messing around. There really has been, in a short period of time, considering the decades of crazy we've been going through in our BPS system, there's been a lower amount of school violence, a lower amount of our suspensions and fighting. Are we where we need to be? Absolutely not. Are we in a better place? We sure are. And it's an everyday thing. So, Nikki, knowing you since, I swear, embryonic at this point, I'm really appreciative that you are being so respected to put together a presentation like this, because I know this is deep in your heart. And we have, you know, we've been doing this in the district, but again, you're right, Maurice, it's not an implemented program in every single school, and we are working on that. COVID kind of put a you know, a halt to some of the things that we really want to dig into.
It's true, because I remember attending a couple of meetings about very much in the community, a lot of concerns about suspension. I was, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of weeks just before, they had a special committee on the east side of Buffalo that was working on this issue specifically. And there was a couple, it seemed to me, teachers or personnel from the Buffalo School District that thought that the school district was not being as faithful or as, you know, as committed because I'm part of Citizen Actions, Jen and Don, and I know AQE has been working on this issue for a number of years. And it seems like that they felt like there was not enough commitment there, that there was actually starting to, before COVID or in the school closings, that they would get a little bit more aggressive, people becoming more aggressive about trying to do the restorative justice. And I want to commend Ms. Rodriguez doing an excellent job. Do you contract with the school district at all, Ms. Rodriguez, Ms.?
I used to. So I used to work
Okay.
for a different nonprofit that was on contract with the school district. So I was right in a school that had implemented restorative practices and running restorative circles as well.
It don't seem like they had enough of you. They seem like they did you enough contracting there, for what I understood.
All right. Anybody else? Anybody hearing about restorative justice for the first time and have any thoughts upon hearing it for the first time?
I think that using restorative justice, especially when we're applying it from a position of kind of being a peer, or from a position of someone from who's within our community, instead of having external forces come in and try to regulate something without the proper experience. I mean, we witness that on a regular basis with how the police interferes with certain situations, whether it's something as extreme as a domestic violence situation or something as minor as 2 kids in a park. So I think that if we pass this on to our kids and we kind of give them the know-how about how to handle certain situations, they'll find the ways to apply those in the future so that they can use it as more of a community tool and not just give them the know-how about how to handle something outside of other forces.
Thank you for that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And just to reground, and this is an indigenous culture. These are practices that have been done for years and years by indigenous people. This is not just a program that people wrote down and put together. It is now. But it was born out of indigenous cultures and beliefs, right? People have been doing this. It has been working. And if you look at those communities, they have a very different value system. They have values in self-care. They have values in community care and support. And honestly, in all honesty, they also have a lot more matriarchal cultures. They really value things that we value on a daily basis.
All right, dope. So if there's no more questions, thank you so much, Nikki, for sharing. Thank you, Maurice and Jen, for your questions and comments and updates on the school system. We truly appreciate it. Next, we have Deja Marie, who's a visual artist in Buffalo and has some very powerful artwork, and she'll be sharing her next project. So Deja, take it away.
Woo!
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep, we
Okay.
can hear you.
So, hi everybody, my name is Deja Marie. I'm a local visual artist from Buffalo, New York, and I aim to focus on my work on a variety of topics. One thing that is most dear to my heart is bringing positive culture back into our community. So through inspiration of my own Afro-Latin culture, spirituality, and religion, I create thought-provoking imagery of our people of African descent in majesty, vigor, valor, love, and pride. And each body of work that I create tells a deeper story of who we are and our spiritual connection to the earth. So I'm going to screen share a little PowerPoint that I put together of a series that I'm working on right now. So my series is called, titled A Dance in the Milky Way. And it is an 8-series body of work that focuses on the spiritual longevity of, I'm sorry, it's laggy. My series is titled A Dance in the Milky Way, and it is an 8-series body of work that focuses on the spiritual longevity of love between Black and African people across the African diaspora, attempted to be hidden through the lens of the media. So it's something that I feel very strongly about, that there isn't enough representation of a lot of Black love that we see on TV, in the media, on TV shows, or even in just society in general. It's not something that is so blatantly obvious anymore. So the first painting in my series, I titled Ife Ti Emi, and that means spiritual passion. My titles come from the Yoruba language. So as you see with my painting, it's a lot going on. I do depend a lot on color and symbolism in my work to tell the story. And like I said earlier, a lot of my work is inspired by my own Afro-Latin culture. So if any of you guys are familiar with Santeria, which is practiced all throughout the Caribbean and countries like the Dominican Republic or our Commonwealth, Puerto Rico, or Cuba, these figures kind of resemble the goddess Oshun or the god Ogun. And I named each figure in my images to go along with a story that I wrote about them. So I am writing a separate book about each figure of paintings that I have created. And it'll also include poetry in the Igbo and Yoruba language. So the male figure in this painting, his name is Oluwa Fifikemi, and that means God has surrounded me with love. The female figure, her name is Oluwa Tamilore, and that means God has blessed me with a gift. So the next painting in my series, I titled Nibiti Ife Kosi Okukun, which means where there is love, there is no darkness. Again, in my work, I really heavily depend on symbolism, and within each symbol, it kind of takes on a story of its own and connects with the figures. So they are both dependent on each other in my paintings. The male figure in this painting I named Adedeji, which means the crown has become two. The female figure I have named Titi Layo, which means eternal happiness. The next one, I don't have a title for this painting yet, but I did name the figure, and the figure's name is Ini Oluwa, which means God's heritage. So this is what I'm currently working on right now. It is incomplete. And this one is titled The Starry Dance of Fifi and Tammy, which is the shortened version names of the two figures in the first painting. So this one is just all organic symbolism. It depends on the color and the movement of the paint to tell the story. And that is the end of my little PowerPoints.
All right, that was incredible. Wow, I think everybody in this chat was saying wow to each image that we saw, and you just didn't hear it because our mics were muted. But I definitely said wow to each image. So wow, this is beautiful art, Deja. It's really lovely. Thank you for sharing that culture with us. I have experience too with the Ifa culture. We have a member of the tribe who is Yoruba, so he comes from that as well, like from the continent. So those things definitely resonate with us. Rich, if you want to give a shout, you can. But yeah, like you said, that like where there's love, there's no darkness. I think that definitely matters when it comes to talking about spirituality, because a lot of spiritualities, especially Ifa, especially Santeria, they get a negative perspective. You know what I'm saying? Yes. A lot of people who want to tear it down, who want to look at it as witchcraft or evil, but like you
Mhm.
said, where there's love, there's no darkness there. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for everything you're working on. That's really dope.
Thank you. I appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Deja, where can they find your artwork? You have website, social media. How can they get in contact with you?
Yes, I have all of that. I'll write my website in the chat below. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll write my website in the chat, and then you can find my social media from there, and everything else.
And also, I see people typing in the chat. This is a perfect time to unmute and actually verbalize the love and share that energy. You know, especially for visual artists. You know, there's galleries and there's things like that, and but they don't always get the love that sometimes like musicians and DJs and movies get. So let her hear your voice. And if you have any comments or anything, please share it now. Now is the time. And it's the space.
Yes, girl, shine.
I think that was really cool.
Thank you.
I love it. I had a question about first of all, it was so beautiful. It was so grounded in culture and your culture, and even I see it as a way to connect us to our African roots as well. And I wanted to know, how do you pick the name? How you name each piece?
Well, how I picked the names, I found that in Yoruba culture, the naming is really important. So after they would have children, they would name them 7 days afterwards, because there'd be an entire ceremony with the elders that goes with the naming process. And the name is kind of like poetry to them. So it's called Oriki. And each name is kind of like a telling of what their future will be, or all the goodness that will come to their future. So a lot of it is based off of God, which is like the Oluwa in front of it, or wealth as well. So how I named it is thinking about, okay, if I was to have a child, and as a mother, how would I name this child? Because, you know, as an artist, like, our paintings are our babies. So how am I going to name these two figures? I decided based off of that, and the story that I wanted to create behind it is very telling, and I wanted it to coincide with their names. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I figured out the naming process.
Gorgeous work. I really enjoyed looking at all the pictures and hearing the stories. And I guess, will you be doing prints of the work that people could buy? Is that something that you have planned for this work? Because it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I'll be doing prints of the work. I have the first one I did, I have some prints on my online art store. The other one's not yet. But yeah, I will be having prints of the work for you to be able to buy.
I have a question. Is it possible to get your information, and maybe, I don't know if you're aware, but there's a whole department now that's been dedicated to cultural and linguistical trainings, and we're really trying to concentrate on bringing cultural sensitivity and making sure we uplift some things that really need to be uplifted in our district and especially in our communities. So I believe that your art speaks. I made a really long comment, so I'm not going to repeat all that, but it's just beautiful, and it's very thought-provoking, and actually could, you know, with you at the helm, maybe speaking to the lessons that you tried to put forth in just your presentation would be very powerful for our students. So if I can somehow get your information, that would be wonderful, and I'll pass it along if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I can definitely give you my information. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So normally, I just want to say, normally, you know, artists name their work, you know, just give it a single name or maybe a couple of words to describe their artwork. But I found it amazing how you were naming some of the images or the people in your work as part of the name of the work.
Yeah.
So I just found that so, I've never heard it. I've never seen anything like that, like an artist do that. I don't know how you developed that, but I just find it so beautiful how you were illustrating your work and kind of you gave like a backstory to the work. You know, it's incredible how beautiful it was, but then to give it that story, I thought was amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I named the figures because I am writing separate story about them. I felt a personal connection as I continue to develop it, and it became more. I became very close to it. So it wasn't my intention at first to name the individual figures. But after I developed that, personal attachment to them, I decided that I would begin to write a story about them. And how was I going to write a story about them if, they didn't have a name to them and a meaning behind their name? So thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I also just wanted to add, as someone who hails from Nigeria, who's also Yoruba, your story is beautiful. Your artwork is beautiful. I love the layers in it, both figurative and literal layers in the work that you do. And while you were telling the story and while you were, sharing the names, I actually was transmogrified back to my childhood when I was told, stories growing up when I was young about, the Orishas and, we visited the Babalawos in the village, and your imagery really just like transfixed me back to that point because it's so powerful and visual and visceral. So your work is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I appreciate it. I'm glad you were able to resonate with it.
Yeah, I think the art is a great example of restorative justice. I think art in general is restorative justice in its own way, bringing us back to, connecting those gaps, those discrepancies between time and space. Like, and that's what Afrofuturism is, right? We're trying to reimagine what the future looks like by understanding our present and our past, and just including different things like technology, like art, like any type of art form, whether it's music, whether it's visual art. So this is what it's about. This is what Wakanda Alliance is about. This is what the Galactic Tribe is about. So thank you all for those comments. Deja, thank you all for your presentation. It was dope.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your kind comments and insight on my work. I really appreciate it again.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody have anything else to add before we move on to the next?
I'm not sure if Deja saw it, but my 9-month-old was trying to like grab the computer every time you shared your artwork and was clapping. So the baby approved.
Oh, thank you.
All right, dope. So real quick, we've been sitting down for an hour. I'm gonna play music for a little bit. Stand up, stretch, follow the song if you like it, and then in about 2 minutes, we're gonna give you a few announcements, and then go on into our comic book reading of the program.
Cool.
Oh yeah, she's an engineer.
Commercial. My bad.
Nationwide to help protect all the families, businesses, and dreams in Peytonville.
Looks like she's kind of famous.
I've got her autograph.
That must be tiny.
It is. You can barely read it.
Peyton Manning is down with Wakanda Alliance.
Club Wakanda, yo, get it in.
Push it up, let me see your chest. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, yeah.
I know y'all can't see me, but I'm twerking so hard.
Yes.
Heavy on the twerk.
I'm shaking the city like cake. The haters blue in the face like Gonzo. I'm taking the cake, so let's play. I'm taking the game's mine. Yeah, I witness the changes my time. Yeah, I'm new to the game, but y'all might wanna say your whack raps, they like saving time. I can dance home, I don't two-step. Y'all looking at something like a true player. A girl told me that a man that can dance might could possibly get down with the tool in his pants. Now I'm a ladies, let me see it vibrate. And when it's over, you ain't gonna need your bird. I'm a pro, make you bring your back low and the pound of real bad, just like the percolate. Back it up, make it back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. Girl, wobble it, and I'ma gobble it. I see you moving your head, go ahead, bobble it. We can cradle the bed, I'm straight racking it. The girl say, man, like this, never rock shit. Damn, I'm so expensive, but I can't help it, my flow ridiculous. Boy, got a gift like it gotta be Christmas. Swag on this like you gotta be gifted. And they want pictures, and they gon' frame them. See that? Nails in the bed while I'm saying my scriptures. Cause I leave you holy like a prayer in the temple.
All right, we back at you again. DJM on the iPad and YouTube apps. That's what we doing. Thank you for staying with us halfway. We halfway through. Deja, thank you so much. Nikki, thank you so much. 10,000 with the words, with the freestyle and using everybody's words. We really appreciate it, and we got more coming. So before we get into the comic book reading, my man ATO has a few announcements. He's going to talk to you about our website and if you want to donate and a campaign that we're doing. Ace, take it away. Ace's camera looks frozen.
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry. Trying to figure out the button. Yo, you got the energy going. I'm like, I gotta keep up the momentum. Words. So, yeah. So I'm gonna go over our website just real quick because you know, we're not just, we want to keep up that interaction when we're not having these events, especially in a time where we can't get out the house as much. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick just so you can see what we got. Give me one moment. All right, and cool. All righty. So, Galactic Tribe. So we're at the www.thegalactictribe.org, not .com. Make sure you keep aware of that. So this is our main page, our social media links, Facebook, Instagram. We just started a YouTube, and we're still getting the videos together for that. But this is our beautiful website. At the bottom of every page, you can see a red button that connects back to whatever background artist we have. So there's David Alavo's work. You know, feel free to click that and support those artists as well. And on our homepage, you'll find out more about the Galactic Tribe. Just so you guys know, the Wakanda Alliance is just the program, all right? The Galactic Tribe is everything that's encompassing, you know, with the program included. So this is what we are. This is where you'll find things like our, we have a campaign going on right now for the next Black Panther writer, because we want to get that conversation going since the comic is on hiatus at the moment. You'll find us a bunch of pictures. You find links to our events. You'll find a Spotify playlist of our favorite artists, right? And then the Wakanda Alliance page itself talks about our past work, everything we've done in the past year. Our birthday passed earlier this month, so shout out to us once again for that 1 year of, you know, great events, creating art with people, bringing kids together in one space with their families, with their with adults to learn and build and be a community, to be a tribe as we were meant to be. My guy Logan right there with his work. And then if you need to find out more about our events, you can go to our gatherings page. You'll find our past events there, of course. And if you scroll down, you'll see that we have a calendar. So if you want to add the calendar or add the events to your Google Calendar, your Apple Calendar, you can definitely do that. You can take a look at some of our old programs. And then here's my favorite part, the Galactic Post. That is our blog. So we make blog entries on a regular basis, talking about history lessons, everything, all the lessons that we go through for, say, the lessons that we plan. Just scroll, there we go. So we've got some stories, if they come up, there we go. 5 Reasons to Start Reading Comic Books by Richie Willis. Thank you so much. So yeah, get in there, y'all. Get in there, y'all. You can sign in with your email, with your Facebook to interact and share comments and join the conversation. We're going to talk about not just comics, but also art. So Deja's art would definitely go up on there. We're going to do an entry on you real soon, so we appreciate that. But that's what the post is for. And if you like what you've seen so far, if you want to support it, we do have a Cash App. So if you see this button here, if you click donate, then you can donate to us at #BG Tribe. That is our hashtag. So it could be whatever amount you want. We really want to keep this thing going. We want to be able to travel, especially when we get back to doing conventions and everything. We had a couple conventions on this year, but because of COVID, we had to switch direction. But it's all good. We're going to keep up the fight. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep on expanding, keep on bringing the community together, keep on having those amazing conversations like we did right here today. So thank you all for that little bit.
All right, dope. So we're about to get into the comic book reading. If you would like to be called on to read, if you can just type it in the group chat, and when we start reading, I'll just call us in order of whoever said they don't mind reading with us. So from the team, myself, John, Ant, and Rich will definitely be reading. And anybody else, if you want to be added to it, just type your name in a group chat. I'll keep track of it and I'll call out names as we go. This is a very interactive part and it really brings us together, and it's a lot of fun. So Ant, if you want to share your screen, and we have a few people already saying that they're going to be down. So let's go.
Cool. All right. So just to give you guys a quick, we're gonna have the video, or we're gonna have the comic slides up as we read along. So this is gonna be a really interactive session, right? So just to talk about the comic again, as I said before, the Dora Milaje, this is one of their stories. One of their Doras went AWOL, which means she became a traitor because she has a deadly obsession with T'Challa, right? So she became this is Nakia, and she became Malice. That was her new villain alias. So she's done a bunch of different things, like tried to get people assassinated. She's just a really hardcore person. But going back to what Nicolita was saying with her presentation, you're gonna see that that the Wakandans, they have a different sense of a moral system because they're indigenous, right? They've never had anybody try to colonize them. Well, they had people try to colonize them, but they didn't do so well. They ended up 6 feet under, if you know what I mean. So but I think that, as you read the comic, you're going to see some of the things that Nicolita was talking about. So I'm going to share my screen if everybody is ready. Wakanda Forever. Sorry, that was great. Wakanda Forever. Woo! All right. The Dora Milaje are all-female warrior elite of Wakanda. Recruited from the country's various tribes, their original mission was to protect the Black Panther and the royal family. But they recently ended that arrangement and now protect the nation as a whole. Before declaring their independence from the throne, one of their leaders, Okoye, was the personal bodyguard of T'Challa, along with a fellow Dora Milaje named Nakia. Nakia grew dangerously obsessed with the Akeem, and when she attacked his friends and family, T'Challa exiled her from the Dora Milaje. Embittered and cast out, Nakia developed an arsenal of weapons, including a drug named Jufiero that gives her power over men. But long-time use of the drug has made her grossly ill. In a desperate attempt to lure the Black Panther to her before she dies, Nakia stole a weapon called the Mimic 27 that can create power-duplicating doppelgangers. But when Nakia is sent it after T'Challa's ex-wife, Storm of the X-Men, the Mimic broke free of her control and attacked her too. To stop it, the Dora Milaje needed Nakia's help, but she refused to act until she could see her king again. Fortunately, the Black Panther just arrived. All right, and this story is written by Nnedi Okorafor. Okay, our first reader.
All right. Dora Milaje training area, Wakanda years ago. It's Okoye's turn next. All right, let's do this. Remember your form, Okoye. John.
Oh, sorry.
Keep the rhythm steady for her. Boom. A perfect landing. Wow. Isn't it scary? Yes. Congrats. That was a good jump. Thanks for watching my back. She made up. She made it. She made it. You're up, Nakia. I don't know if I can do this. Have trust, Nakia. Trust in your fellow warrior, and you can't go wrong. Can't see that. Trust. Right here I go.
All right. I'm going to take a quick break real quick from that and actually go to the comics so it's easier to read and not moving around too much. Give me 1 second. Bear with me, huh? This is my comic library. I read a lot of comics. It's all Black Panther. Yes, I know. I have a problem.
Ain't no problem.
There you go. Thank you for that. All right, let's.
Tú quieres algo y se te ve. Aquí hay ambiente pa' ahora y pa' después. Ya tú probaste la otra vez. Por eso sabes que tú estás rico.
All right, we're good to go. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. All right, next reader.
Rich.
Is that King T'Challa? He's here? I've gotta... Wait, I've lost control. Help, help. She's lost her form.
Boom, 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 boom.
Give it all you've got on the drum.
Boom, boom.
Spread the vibranium net, and catch her.
Boom, boom, boom.
Oof. Nakia. Okay, go on.
All right. Yeah, next reader.
She landed over there. Sherry, we need a medic at Ujiki Cliff. Just track my signal. Nakia, are you all right? I don't know my,
All right. That's Ukaji, or sorry, Ukaji? There's a certain pronunciation to that. But that word actually means growth. So think of it as a growth mountain or growth cliff, the cliff of growth. And it's a bit of a rites of passage for the Dora Milaje to pass. All right, so I'll let you keep reading. Next page.
Look at that arm. It's okay. We'll mend it. Mashi, I don't know how to say that. You have to focus better, Nakia. My king. New York City now. My king. Oh, Nakia. What have you done? John?
All right.
Oh, Ant, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. Storm and Okoye just messaged me. Look at the destruction you've caused. I know this was you, Nakia, or Malice, as you prefer. Why? My king, I recovered the Dora Milaje's finest weapon, the Mimic 27. They couldn't even do that. AIM stole it from the Dora Milaje, and you sent it to destroy Brooklyn? What sense does that make? That wasn't my intent. I just wanted you to come to me. Look at me. I'm dying to chop. The herbs I used for so long have sickened me. I wanted to say goodbye. See Storm in the background like, she is so full of. Y'all, that thing is still out there imitating our powers. Can we get back to saving New York City? That's Rogue, by the way, of the X-Men. So that's the work of the Mimic 27. The same. Nakia's corrupted it. And now we've got a Wakandan weapon that has the potential to do damage far beyond this city. This is on Wakanda, the Dora Milaje especially. But we can stop it, King T'Challa. Next reader.
James. John, you want to go, and then James will be up.
Sure. The Mimic 27 has disappeared again, but it's clearly still in the area. T'Challa. Yes, Captain. You need to get over here. I think this thing is powered by vibranium. I understand now, Captain America. She-Hulk. I understand now. Captain America and She-Hulk are at the Brooklyn Bridge Park. There was some sort of disturbance there. A ghost-like creature near the water. It must be the Mimic. You, Storm, and Rogue should go. See if you can hold it. Ayo, Anika, and I will go with Nakia. She activated the Mimic. She has to be the one too. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying with King T'Challa. Nakia, what's wrong with you? Please. Your life has been hard, I understand, and so much has happened. Our Wakandan kingdom and traditions are not perfect. How hard? Check out Black Panther by Christopher Plummer. Nakia, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. The world needs you right now. Come back to us, Nakia. Once a Dora, always a Dora. Okay, I'll help you.
All right. So like I said before, y'all, this is where that restorative justice comes into play. They could have locked her up, you know. They could have did her like he did Killmonger, you know, stabbed through the chest. But this is a different approach that they're taking, right? She spent years trying to get back at T'Challa, years of manipulating men, manipulating others to get what she wanted. But here you see they're doing their best to bring her back, and apparently it's working. All right.
All right, James, you ready?
Yeah. This is ridiculous, Anika. I can't see. She caused the problem. Why are they apologizing to her? Here we go. Trust me, beloved. I'm keeping a close eye on her.
Oh, sorry.
Why are we splitting up again? This is a weird plan. It is a Dora Milaje weapon. I trust them to know its secrets best. And Captain America needs us in the field. It's a good plan, Rogue. Nightcrawler, we need a quiet place. Can you teleport us away now? At your service, Fraulein. T'Challa, my love, what happened to that woman? It's too much to explain. She deserved better than what we gave her. Finally, the crazy lady is gone. My poor shop.
Hang on. What just happened? Oh, there we go. All right, there we go.
Uh-oh. You know you're not getting dinner now, right?
Damn.
It's like that.
So if this mimic likes to imitate superheroes, should we even be going? Won't we add fuel to the fire? We need to keep it in one place. And if it's kept any of Nakia's personality, it's not going anywhere. As long as you and I are there, we hold it until the Dora Milaje have done what they need to do.
All right, I'll pick up. You know, I say this whole situation with Nakia was really petty if it weren't about, if it was really petty if it weren't about to destroy all of New York. It's not a petty situation. It's an old one we never addressed. The Nevin Street subway, lower level platform. Well, this place is creepy. Ugh, teleports. I used to come here a lot when I was in a dark mood. It's a good place to brood, I'll give you that. Ja, and it's as close as we'll find to a quiet cave in New York. that's what you asked for after all. I don't think I like this place. Let's get started. Everyone sits in a circle. You too, Nightcrawler. Will this drum still work after you drop your spear through it? For our purposes, yes. We don't have much time, so I'll be brief. For us to do this, you need to know what the mimic is. All of it. The Dora Milaje is to be a Dora Milaje is to know secret weapons, but only some of us know the details. Next reader.
Rich. Rich, you're muted.
Sorry. Years ago, during a countrywide drought, a trainee found a strange substance in the echo chamber cave. It's a strange substance. The Doras brought a sample to King T'Chaka's best engineer, Professor Obinna Nwabweze. He found that it responded to vibration with mimicry, and it responded to the Doras most. In all their hours in the cave, they had absorbed some of the substance through their skin. Professor Mwabweze had all the substance dug up from the echo chamber, 27 pounds, hence its name, the Mimic 27. Professor Mwabweze kept a few ounces of this dirt for his own secret research. See what he went on to do with it in Black Panther, Long Live the King. He developed it into a weapon, but it was unstable. So we didn't use it, but it became one of the Dora Milaje secrets we passed down. Well, it's not a secret anymore.
Okay, next reader.
I got it. No, but at least we know how it works. The mimic has an inner self, and we are going to subdue it. Nakia, you've been controlling it, so you know it, so it knows you best. We will help you, but I have to be the one to reach it? Right. But we'll be right there with you. This is treated vibranium, the same stuff in the drum that housed the mimic before it got loose. Instead of absorbing sonic waves, it throws them out so fast that it opens things. Nightcrawler, today you are an honorary Dora Milaje, and you have a very important job. Ja, do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? Don't let anything touch this piece of metal. I'll do my best. But where will you all be? I hope she knows what she's doing. We're going somewhere else. And if anything touches that chip, it'll stop vibrating and we'll be trapped there. Nakia, are you ready?
Ooh, me mugging.
Ooh. Here we go.
All right, next reader.
John?
Come on then, Captain America. You look like She-Hulk, but you're nothing like my friend.
It's a strong chin.
No, but I can't punch like her. Wham. Cap, you okay? You forget me already, Mimic? Rah! Let me remind you.
Oh, snap.
Move. Hulk, smash, Hulk.
Oh.
Careful, She-Hulk. It'll match your strength. Let's see it try. Crash. T'Challa, watch your back. No surprise to me. This thing couldn't be more predictable.
Fighting sounds.
There's a mimic for each of them. It's
Those
getting
sounds were
stronger.
wonderful. My favorite thing all morning, I had to say something.
Been watching a lot of kung fu movies lately.
Right. I
Next
hope
reader?
whatever.
Go ahead, John.
I hope whatever the Dora Milaje are doing works, and soon.
All right, next reader.
James.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom. What is it? What are you staring at? Boom. I see it, just like in the echo chamber. Me too. We're there now. We're there. Wow. Boom, boom, boom. Speaking English would help me a lot right now, or we could try German. Come on, warriors, let's finish this. I don't see anything. Oh, sorry, it's a liminal space created by the ricocheting sonic waves. You can't see it because you've never been in the echo chamber cave. It's familiar to us. Every Dora sees this place during initiation. Just make sure nothing touches that chip. Boom, boom, boom. You got it. Kind of glad I don't see it. Heh, sounds. Scar. Whoa, I think I get why people are so freaked when I teleport.
Okay. Next reader.
Ant, you.
That's me. Right. Okay, cool. Wait, it's close. Dang, I want to do it, and I want to do an accent like Richie now. Dang it. I'm gonna work on it. We're gonna work on it. Not close. Here. Hey, sister. You're me, but not. It's like in the echo chamber cave during my initiation to the Dora Milaje. Only now, I'm old. I've become the version of myself I was so afraid of. Oh. And I'm here to replace you. Why is everything from Wakanda so cool? I need to visit there again. It's been too long. Yoo-hoo. What the? Oh, no, you don't. Watch me. Just let me have it. Oh, come on. Ha-ha. No. God, fighting a teleporter is so annoying. Why are you fighting us? We all became Dora Milaje in your cave. We thought you wanted to protect us. I'm free now. I protect myself. Nakia taught me that. You attack a Dora Milaje. Nothing can protect you. Ah! Nakia, hurry and send this thing to your, wait. Nakia, hurry and send this thing to its ancestors. All right, next reader.
Rich.
I'm trying. Make it hear you, Nakia. Focus. No, I'm free. Malice dies. I'm free. Please. Talk to it, Nakia. You can't do this. I Take back my poison. It was Mindfest. You can truly be free. You can let it go. I did it. Shh. All that pain and anger, all those years of hating the Doras and T'Challa, they are gone. But I still feel the Jufero herb, its sickness inside me. Okoye, I don't think I'm going to make it. Tell my king, tell him. No!
All right, next reader.
Roar! My God, this is the most uncreative villain we've ever fought. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, I guess.
The rogue?
Yep.
Yep, that's Rogue. She got pigtails. I don't know why.
Right.
Attack. What? They're disintegrating. Well, that just deals my pickle. This fight was just starting to get interesting. I'm fine with it. Strong chin. Where'd those things go? Away, I hope. So sick of these freaking superheroes. Okoye, the others, they must have seceded. The Dora Milaje always do. Holy cow, what happened here? I just got back from this crazy abandoned AIM facility. The cops were so late. Did I miss something good? Oh, honey.
I appreciate how you're switching the voices up.
Oh, good. Okoye, you did it. T'Challa, your friends are here. Thank you.
Next reader.
John.
The mimic. I think it had been keeping her illness at bay. When she released it, her body gave up. When a warrior goes to war, she should conquer or die. Nakia has done both. I guess we were wrong to doubt her, beloved. She came back to us in the end. She has my respect. Nakia Shaku. None of us here in the Quinoma Valley ever forgot her. Her name. She is our daughter. When Nakia left this village, she was only 13 years old. She became one of us before she could become herself. Now, she's home. The problem of the Mimic 27 is solved, and our sister returned to us in her own way.
Oh.
That's, oh.
There.
Nakia made the Dora Milaje whole again. The end.
All right. Cool.
Congrats to all the readers. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thoughts or questions about it? Hey, what's up, Hiram? My man.
What was the ending epithet from the author?
Oh, let me just read it real quick. Give me 1 second. That's the end of our special Dora Milaje adventure, but never fear, the doors will return and so will author Nettie Okorafor. Ask your local comic book shop to reserve your copy of Shuri #1 and a brand new series starring the Black Panther's sister and featuring covers by Sam Spratt, the artist behind Janelle Monáe's Electric Lady album art. Issue #1 is on sale in October. So yeah, this came out in 2017, 2018. No, 2018 before the Shuri comic dropped. So, like I said, it was 3 issues, probably hard to find because I don't know how the sales went, but it wasn't around for too long. But luckily, if you guys want, go to the Marvel Unlimited app. It's a $10 subscription. You can read old comics, new comics, and they're digital, so you can screenshot, look through them as much as you want. They won't get torn. You don't have to worry about kids messing them up or water damage or anything like that. So that's the Marvel Unlimited app. They didn't pay me to say that, but hopefully one day they do.
Speak
You
it.
know? For sure. But yeah, what did y'all think? What do y'all think of how they kind of brought Nakia back in, or did you like it? Did you not like it? A lot of Black Panther hardcore fans are mad Nakia got killed off because whatever. How do you think this version of Nakia compares to the movie version? Or go ahead, throw anything out there. This is what the conversation's about.
Thought it was a good example of restorative justice.
Yeah, for sure.
Bringing her back in and owning the wrong that they did as well as what Nakia did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a reoccurring thing. And when people talk about Black Panther, even after the movie, they were like, they were wrong for doing Killmonger the way they did. They should have tried to address his trauma and bring him back in, but they were all, no, this is our joint. You're an outsider still. You're one of us, but you're not one of us. We don't like you. And then half of them were like, yeah, we support this guy. Half of them weren't. And, it's a whole thing. So the politics thing is definitely a major talking point, not just because it's something that they've created in the world of Wakanda, but it's something that we did with the Black community or any type of community as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a really great example of restorative justice as well because it really focused on the relationship. If King T'Challa had not been the one to ask her to do that, she probably would have never came to that conclusion and have really ultimately given herself for that. But because of that relationship and how strong that relationship, that bond and that trust was, she went along with it.
I think it's just really cool how, for me, the combination of her and the Mimic 27 and just her desire for something that she can't get brings out a mimic of the worst enemy of everybody else. I've seen a lot of situations where a person or a dynamic like that will make everybody around it a version of themselves that they're fighting with. So I thought that was really deep, and just the idea that we can't fight ourselves with our power. That only just that doesn't actually solve the problem. And so you have all of these super powerful superheroes, and the more strength and effort that they put into solving the problem, the worse it gets. And they have to solve it at the root, which is this emotional work. So I just thought it was all a big metaphor for that. And that really resonated for me with a lot of times that I tried to use power to solve a problem that actually had a more emotional root.
Yeah, I would even say, if you want to look at that as anger instead of power, if you're using your anger instead of your compassion, and ultimately what happened in the end, Nakia was able to use compassion with the Mimic and ultimately was able to succeed in that way. It's a really good point, John.
I think even when you were talking about the restorative justice, how at the very end it said she became a Dora Milaje before she became herself. And I think what you were saying was having the base of it, and having everything at the foundation. And if they don't have that foundation, then you can't get to the point where they do those extra things. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked that quote as well, because it makes me think of young people when they turn to the street. So they really don't know themselves. Their body is just starting to grow, but they cling on to this family, to this life that is predetermined set rules. There's a way to go. There's a way to be successful in it, but it doesn't allow you to really find yourself and be yourself if your personality or the things that you like fall outside of those lines. So there's things that you might have to hide. Like, so if you are smart, you know, you dumb it down as not to offend anybody or somebody to fight you because because they think you're a nerd or things of that nature. So I think sometimes the life that we grow into, or even if you think of like growing up in like church and things like that, it's like it's thrown on you, and then you, as a young person, and I'm speaking from my own experience now, as a young person, you attach onto that and you believe it so hard. But then when adult messes up, a very human thing, just messes up, you know, like we all do, but then it gets this definition of hypocrite or whatnot, and then you get people that turn away because it's like, how do you separate that? I've been in a part of that my whole life. And so before you even can have your own identity, you know church, you know the rules, you know what's right and wrong, and then you have these very complex adults that are dealing with very real problems, whether it's a job or bills or losing their house or sickness or whatnot. And then in a moment of weakness, maybe they sin or whatnot, however you take that. And then, how does a child understand that, So I really liked that line.
What I liked about this whole story is what I think that the group owned what they did wrong. I think that makes healing more possible when and church comes up. I grew up in church too. I feel like and especially those of us who work with youth, it's very easy to point out what they've done wrong, but what have you done wrong? Maybe you could have organized something a little better to make it so, because we always focus so that students are more clear or whatever, and even in church and power dynamics. And so I think that those of us in any dynamic where you're the one who holds the power, I think we also have to take who holds more power, I should say. We have to also take responsibility and own. And I think that's what makes healing so hard, and people just don't want to deal or come back, especially whether in a spiritual institution, whether it's church, or even just with I was a classroom teacher, and I remember instances where, yes, especially my boys, my Black boys who were 12 and 13, yes, this young man acted out or whatever, but you also, like, where's the accountability on the teacher who antagonized the situation? Like, you also antagonized him to get to this, and so where is that? And I think and so I think that that's also an important part of any type of restoration and healing work, is that everybody is reflective. All of the key players are reflective on their role in contributing to whatever happens. And I think that that's how you can avoid the hypocrite or the resentment, because you want me to do all of this and you're not owning anything. So I really like that about this and I think that it connects to restorative justice.
Anybody else got anything they want to share? Or
what was that comment they made about it's not petty, what was it?
Not petty, it's a problem that they didn't deal with.
Yeah, so it was a problem that it was overshadowed or something like that. Yeah, that hit me pretty deep too, because it's just like we see that again. Okay, I have two thoughts. I'm going to go back to my first one, which was Tiffany. I just wanted to piggyback off of your thought that we did actually see that when Nakia actually succeeded and was able to like accept her part and her responsibility. That was like a really profound example of exactly what you were just talking about. Just that one comic picture just kind of floated back into my mind of her being like, I'm free. She didn't want to take it back, and then eventually she said, okay, you can be free. That is literally that strong, and I completely agree with you. It's necessary for healing work to happen. And then for that other comment that said that people so often look at these things as and people's behaviors as just being petty, when in reality, like, this is a symptom of a much larger issue. And so I just really appreciated that they pointed that out, however small it was or in passing, but that hit me pretty deep too.
Yeah, I think petty is a word that get used to erase like people a lot. Like obviously there is some shit that's just petty, but a lot of times people use that word to erase like the depth of something that isn't that like they've moved past. So it's like I moved past it, so I'm calling you petty, even though like it's recognized that it's affecting other people. And I think that's like a big power thing, and why when you are in like the power position, those people reflecting that they acknowledge what they did is like what made it possible for her to like let go, because then you kind of like close that distance from the person who might have moved past it, which the child obviously did for a long time, but to actually like come back and allow that, and then that allows the other person to see what they've been doing to try to like close the distance themselves, but not actually have the power to do. So I thought this is a really cool way of like showing that, and then also the reality that I've seen in my personal life of like people who are held together by hate, and who, you know, once they don't have anything to hate, or maybe there's like a better word for it, they just like you know, they die, they move on, they like, you know, leave, and just like how often like as soon as we get closure, like it's like over.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add to that is also that I don't know, I just forgot it, it'll come back.
Glad she doesn't look hit. I came in late, but the last time we was reading, she looked like a zombie.
All right, so
I remember it. Sorry. It's just that if we continue to ignore the problem, it just gets bigger, right? And it gets more powerful, and like you lose control over it. So yeah, that was the other thing I just want to say. Okay, thank you.
Were there any other comments or any questions that people wanted to propose to the group? All right. So real quick, what I would like to do, we're a little ahead of time, and one of my singers says she's having a little difficulty. So to try to give her some time to hop on, what will be dope if everybody could introduce themselves and say one of their favorite superheroes, and then one thing that they are looking forward to doing when quarantine is over. So I'll start. Mr. M, Davon McCune, and one of my favorite superheroes is Black Panther, and for me, when I learned about him when the movie came out, it was almost like he was everything that was like deprived from my life that was missing. So, you know, he got the girls, but he was also smart. He could fight, but his manliness didn't stop him from being caring and understanding. And I think, you know, especially in the movie, that's where I was really first introduced to him. I think that just you know, just gave me so much hope and things like that. And one thing that I'm looking forward to doing is traveling back to New York City. My cousin, she just had a son. It's my uncle's first grandchild. So spend some time with them and be with my family.
Cool. I'll go next. What do we do again? So we talk about our favorite superhero.
Name, favorite superhero, and one thing you want to do when quarantine is over.
Got it. Cool. So I'm Anthony Pierce, my last name. I go by Ace the Outsider as my creative alias, or ATO for short. My favorite superhero, I don't really have a lot of favorites in anything, so I usually have like a top 5. But one of my favorites would be Static from Static Shock. That was one of the first. It's not the first, but that was the first Black superhero with his own show that I remember from my past. And then like once I found out about the show, it was cool, it was awesome. But then I found out that he had his own comic book back in the 90s. So then I went back and I learned about this Milestone Comics was a company owned by Black and brown people. You know what I'm saying? So they contributed to those stories about Black youth, Latino youth, all these different races that I didn't know about. Because I grew up on Superman, Batman, Flash, and all of them. But so that's what kind of got me into the habit of looking for Black comics and listening for what comes from our community. Because you can let people write your stories all day, but if they don't come from where you come from, it can only relate to you so far. So that's why Static's one of my favorites. He's like the Spider-Man of young Black superheroes. So I think he still has a comic out. But so yeah, that's one of my favorites. One of the things I'm looking forward to after this quarantine is over is just summer, yo. Like, I want to get out in the air. I want to go do some fun stuff at the park. I want to get back with my friends who like to go out and do stuff in the summer, enjoy the heat. I want to travel. I want to go to the comic conventions because, now with the Wakanda line being where it's at, I really, really, really want to get the word out there. So hopefully some conventions don't get canceled or somehow they have like a virtual thing they can do. So that's
Just I can go next. My name is John Washington, and I struggle like Ant with having a favorite character. I think I really identified with Bishop, who was an X-Man who could absorb other people's powers and send them back out of them. So when I was like a younger kid, especially dealing with a lot of racism, I definitely like vibe with Bishop. And also he was a Black man traveling in time, and that just concept, even though I hated what Marvel did with it, that concept blew my mind. Because I was like, yo, if I was a Black man and I could travel back to any point to like fix this shit with my powers, like where would I go? And that just like sent my brain on a whole journey of like going back to the 60s, and then going back to the beginning of slavery, and then like learning more about my own history. So I think Bishop like really like identified with, even though I don't like him the best, like I identified him with him the most. Yeah. And when this is over, I can't wait to do this like in person, like especially doing this right now. I'm like, damn, what would this be like if we were just like all in the same space? So yeah.
I can go next. My name is Richie. My favorite superhero has always been Storm, Aurora Monroe, as I can remember. Just like a dark-skinned Black woman who like stood in her truth and was a leader, of the X-Men. It was wonderful to see that, and I looked up to her. I'm looking forward to I was supposed to go on a trip back to Nigeria, which was canceled because of Corona. But I'm really looking forward to, doing that, hopefully soon.
Latoya, you mind sharing?
Sure. My name is Latoya. I have two favorite characters. It's actually Storm and Wonder Woman. Mainly because it's just women with power. We have so many different things on TV that doesn't show that we're smart and we have power. We also have compassion. So I think by Storm being one of the first Black female comics, that's what made her my favorite. And then I love the weather. And then Wonder Woman came out and I learned about her, so I was kind of digging her as well. What I plan on doing this summer, something I kind of started now, I kind of got into photography. So kind of continue on with that. And then I'm also a graphic designer, so I'm trying to tap back into that as well. So just mainly, I guess, getting back into my creative side and get out of my shell and start showing some of my work, which is kind of something I'm not good at doing. So that's my goal for this summer.
Word. Thanks, Latoya, for sharing that. Yeah, this is perfect time for summer, I think, in Buffalo is perfect time for photography in Buffalo is the summertime. So definitely get out there. So much to take pictures of.
So my name is Daryl. I like a lot of comics, and it's usually the groups because I like the team dynamic that they represent. For example, X-Men. But when Black Panther came out, that really was a nice, just a nice to see a world that represented, Black people with, power, authority, intelligent, a lot of things that Mr. M said. And but I love what I think it might have been John that said this, Static Shock, because or the other brother that said it, Static Shock was a great cartoon to watch, and to know that he was like Spider-Man, a Black version of Spider-Man, but intelligent. That was a real big thing to me growing up as well. So finally, what I do, I would like to get to some travel time so I could see family and enjoy, seeing some of my family that I haven't been able to see. So.
Yeah. Hi, and I'm Christina, and I'm definitely, I kind of echo you, Toya, on Wonder Woman, but I've definitely, since Black Panther came out, I really like all of the strong women in science. I'm a Black female engineer, and I'm like, yeah, sure, yes. So I'm like super excited about that, and just the way that we're starting to get more Black characters in there. My nephew, who I'm looking forward to seeing this summer, loves Miles Morales, the Black in the comic, the Spider-Man. What is that, like? Spider-Verse, yeah, Into the Spider-Verse, and like all he can say is Miles Morales, and his teacher was like, I know who your favorite superhero is. Yes, please sit down. But I'm looking forward to seeing them sometime this summer.
All right, I'll go next. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Deja Marie, and my favorite superhero is, I guess, Blade. I don't know why. I like the idea of that Black vampire-ish, half human, half vampire type thing. We don't normally associate it with like Black characters. I also like the idea of him having that ability to be really good at martial arts, and then swords fighting, something that we don't normally associate with African and Black people as well. Many people don't know about like Dambi or like ancient stick fighting in African culture. So I think that's like very good, well-rounded character to make people want to research the history. Like, oh, is there like African martial art? Is that not just like a Asian type thing? So that's the character that I like, one of my favorite superhero characters. I also like Wesley Snipes, so when he did the movie, it made me like him even more. And what I'm looking forward to when quarantine is over is going back to Miami and hopefully displaying in an art gallery called MoCAD that I've been trying to stay in touch with. So just trying to get my work out there more.
All right, real quick, I want to go into our next music performers. They're both online, so we'll do that, and then after they get off, then I definitely want to hear from anybody else that would love to share, and we want to have some announcements of our next comic book that we'll be reading, and the next time we'll have a program. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my former student at Buffalo Center for Arts and Technology. She's a senior. She's about to graduate, and she goes by Nubia the Artist. So if we can give a hand clap or snaps, whatever you want to do to Nubia the Artist.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you guys.
Hello.
I'm gonna be doing a couple of songs. Mr. M, am I starting now?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna be doing a couple of songs. This first one is called Right One. You go upstairs. You stole my heart, man. Damn, congratulations. I think I need a head scan, full evaluation. Observe what's in my mind. Take a look at what the case is. Infatuated deeply with a million revelations. Got intuition and it's sickening. Like my mind gets so addicted to the feeling of you with me. I don't know your real intentions, not a 10 like other women. But I tend to leave you smitten, defended. But I admit I get mad and I forget I feel the love, true love. Souls to be connected. I know it's hard to trust, but it's not else you can't reject it. Gotten so close, you're in my blood, I feel infected. You decimate my traumas when you sit here and dissect it. You know every single flaw and won't let me correct it. I really love your vibes, protect lessons and investment. Build each other every day, we learn lessons. And I know I got the right one. Make my heart go dun 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 dun. And I know I got the right one. Make my heart go, make my heart go. And I know I got the right one. Make my heart go dun 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 dun. And I know I got the right one. Make my heart go. I want you, kinda need you, but your colors getting see-through and your feelings so believable. My love is unachievable, but you got my heart, then threw it back. Wanna be done with your crazy, but I know just keep on coming back. You're the only one that have my back. Been there from the beginning, ended with me thick and thin, and it's just crazy how we win. And love like ours ain't no pretending. I didn't love me. I always told myself, don't trust fool, and I push you. So dang hard, but still stay, so I mess with you. No, I got the right one. Make my heart go dun 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 dun. And I know I got the right one. Make my heart go, make my heart go. And I know I got the right one. Make my heart go dun 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 dun. And I know I got the right one. Thank you. That's all for that one. This next
yes.
one.
All right.
There we
I
go.
love you. Jazz background. Come on, jazz in the background.
Over here.
This next one. Lo-fi type beat. Oh my goodness. Hold on, guys. Couple technical difficulties. Lo-fi type beat. I need a girl. Lo-fi type beat, rain.
If you are currently facing financial burdens,
I've been put through so much drama, just one paper stacking commas. So I line up all my chakras, meditation made me find elevation. Now I prosper, don't disturb the flow of prana, getting glimpses of nirvana. A blessing, I got karma, I stay rapping like a condom, spitting like a llama. I was young and lost my mama. I went crazy, sort of kinda like she's here, but she was never there for me. Used to dream about it, she was in my fantasies. I wasn't hers, but she wanted a man to feed. Who I am now is never who I planned I'd be. I've been working on my pineal and now I see life is a mirror of your thoughts. Your truth is what you believe. Learn to only give out energy. I want to receive, and I'ma break my family chain and make a change for our lead. Crown chakra proves it just like Saturn. I am a queen, and I'm connected to my universe. It's all in my genes. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes, but you got use 3. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes, but you got use 3. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes, but you gotta use 3. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes. Imagine if I grew up and I never made a name, cause I didn't trust myself and never took and leap of faith. Gave them all the things I loved, I couldn't see that I was great. I let my past take over, got consumed in all the pain. Like, wow, mama's still a kid and she had to raise a child. No daddy in the picture and nobody helping out. But now I'm all grown up, I think I finally found my sound. Been living for the city, I'm establishing my ground. Been dusting off my haters, tell them hoes bow down. I cannot forget my struggle and be who I am now. Thankful for adversity and eternally I'm proud. I don't do it for the clout, want the money, not the fame. That is not what I'm about. And my body's nasty, they taste like sauerkraut. I be steady spliffing, but I'm only blowing loud. I can tell you spiritual, I really like it. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes, but you got this 3. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes, but you got this 3. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes, but you got it 3. 1, 2, 3, bring it back to me. Yeah, you got 2 eyes. That's all for that one. Thank you.
Hey.
All right.
Dope.
Yes,
Dope.
Nasty
That was
like
it.
sauerkraut.
That was it.
3 eyes. I'm gonna be using 3 eyes. Okay.
Got 2 eyes.
I
You got it.
remember you. You my teacher from my school. The green hair.
Oh,
Who, Tiffany?
Yeah.
what school? Buff State?
South Park.
Oh, that might be somebody else. I don't think that's me.
Oh, my bad. You look just like her. You look just like Miss House.
That's okay. I could be your teacher though. You better, cause I'm gonna use you teaching me, cause I'm gonna use 3 eyes.
Do I have time for one more?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Lo-fi type beats. No, that's the one.
DJ M. While our artist loads up. Shout out Dayron. Shout out Stacey Robinson, John Bono, Solomon James. Hey now.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay, I'm ready now, guys. Hold on.
Dayron, what you eating on, man? It look good.
Oh man, you caught me. Philly cheesesteak from EMT Coffee Cup, man. If you know it, go grab something, man. They back open.
Oh man, I gotta go try it out.
Oh, back open. I'll be right back, y'all.
It's very important for me that I do this. I need it, I get it, I got it, won't lose it. It's very important for me that I do this. Getting desires if I was Confucius. It's very important for me that I do this. Filtering vibes if I was transition. It's very important for me that I do this. And lost all sanity, founded in music. Everybody doubted me. Oh man. Oops. Sorry guys.
No problem, no problem.
You good. That one was going. I like that.
Thank you. Also, the Earthling is here with me. Say hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, what's up, Earthling?
It's very important for me that I do this. I need it, I get it, I got it, won't lose it. It's very important for me that I do this. Getting desires if I was Confucius. It's very important for me that I do this. Filtering vibes if I was translucent. It's very important for me that I do this. And lost all sanity, found it in music. Everybody doubted me. Didn't want to see the seeds sprouting me. Walking around with a dark cloud on me. Building up walls, forming boundaries. It astounded me how they cowardly, so unnaturally chose to laugh at me, started clowning me. I was crowned a queen. I was bound to see there's more to life than just tragedy. Holding brothers down like gunnery, but I pushed past it. I was waiting on my death like I booked the casket. All the months said words, so I took the rap and they all heard. When I should have fasted, came up at once and I couldn't grasp it. Tummy hurt, I started spitting acid. Mom's reaction had me flabbergasted. It was tragic. Make me mess. Young to be stressed. Sister called my name and started crying on my chest. Hugged her and I told him that I loved them both to death. Running off the edge, had to take a deep breath. Mama said, don't come back if you take another step. Can't do no more damage, I don't want to pay the debt. I looked back at the close bring it home and then I left. Oh, and I've been on a road with no kind of direction. Don't know where I'm headed, but I know wherever I end up, it's gonna be good for my sons and daughters waiting at the door.
I grabbed the pen and pen up lies with what's pent up inside, and then I combine it with rhythm and rhyme, but I still feel like shit all the time. Can't seem to get all this ick out my eyes, spit out my lies. This how I live out my life. Chipped on my wrist and my thighs, and that shit cost the price. Skipped on my life when I was 13. Before I started working, I was screaming fuck a work week, and then I told the church, think we were fucking dirt shit, and claimed that I would never want to see another birthday. Cause really I was breaking at the seams like an earthquake and screaming out for birthday. Why God do I gotta suffer? Mind keep running like these words that I mutter. Worry about my mom like I'm worried about shit.
It's very important for me that I do this. I need it, I get it, I got it, won't lose it. It's very important for me that I do this. Getting desires if I was Confucius. It's very important for me that I do this. Filtering vibes if I was translucent. It's very important for me that I do this. The lost solid sanity founded in music.
Hey, give it up for Nubia, the artist, and the Earthling. It's very important that we do this.
That was it. That was it.
Thank you.
Yo, these hits. Hits.
Thank you, guys.
It's very important for me that I do this. It's very important for me that I do this. Come on. Stuck in my head already. All right, up next, another one of my former students. She graduated with top of her class. She's been a joy, just a pleasure to have in my after school program. Please give it up, singing Incense. Give it up, give it up, give it up.
Hey everybody, how are you guys today? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So the first song I'm gonna be singing two songs today. The first one's gonna be a cover, and the second one's my own. I don't know if so pretty much the songs I picked today were based off of what makes the songs that just make me happy.
You look beautiful, Michaela.
Thank you. The songs that make me happy in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. So the first one is Valerie by Amy Winehouse. Hopefully y'all can hear this. Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water and I think of all the things what you're doing. In my head, I paint a picture. But since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you'd like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Oh, why won't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie. 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 You didn't have to go to jail or put your house on up for sale. Did you get good, boy? Hope you think you're 10. We'll find a man who'll fix it for you. I'm shopping anywhere, change the color of hair. Are you big? And did you pay that fine that you was dialing all the time while you still busy? Come on home where my body pain and maze and miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why won't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie. 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 By myself and I look across the water and I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Since I come on home, well my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Oh, why won't you come over, Valerie? Valerie. 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 Why don't you come on over, Valerie?
All right.
Yes.
Woo-hoo. Yes.
Thank you. And then my next song is an original. It's called The Antidote. I wanna be your antidote, yeah. I want to be your peace and love. I want to be your antidote, yeah. I want to bring you comfort and most of all, I want to love you right, bring you through all the fights, love and respect your light. I just want to treat you right. I know it takes some time to trust me, but I don't want war, I just want your loving energy all on me. It's just as simple, so let me bring it through my mental. It's just as simple, so let me bring it through my mental state of mind. We do this all the time. We're trading energy, it's just you and I want you all the time, all the time. I want you to be mine, to be mine. I want to be your antidote, antidote. I want to heal all your pain. I want to be your antidote, antidote. I want to cure all your scars and all the pain, all the pain. I know it takes some time to trust me, but I don't want war, just want your loving energy all on me. Put it on me, put your energy on me, on me, on me now. Thank you.
Yeah. Woo. You wrote that one?
Yes, I wrote the last one that I
Yes.
just did.
Good stuff.
All right, dope. Thank you so much to Incense and Nubia, the artist, and her special guest, the Earthling. Real quick, we have a special guest on. His name is Stacy Robinson. He is one half of Black Kirby, and Stacy, you can explain it better than I can. You can take it away.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Stacy Robinson. Well, currently, actually, I'm in the process of moving from the Boston area. I'm here on a residency at Harvard, and headed back to Champaign, Illinois, where I'll be continue teaching at the University of Illinois. I teach graphic design and illustration. Was mentioned Black Kirby. Black Kirby is a two-person collective, me and my best friend and collaborator, John Jennings, who who taught at the University of Buffalo, who brought me to Buffalo to study with him. I was there for 3 years. So I was there for from 2013 to 2016, 13 through 16. Yep, and then I moved to Illinois. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Did you want me to show anything or talk about anything?
Actually, so real quick, I'm going to share my screen. That's making funny. Come on, screen share. And candy in my mouth. All right, there we go. So everybody see that?
Yeah.
So this is going to be our next graphic novel that we're going to be going over for the month of June and possibly July. So it's on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version for $10, or you can get the paperback for $15, $16, depending on shipping. And Stacy, if you can just talk to us a little bit about your book and how it all came together.
Okay, sure. I won't say too much if you're about to read it. So the book, well, let me see. And you also have a description right there of the book. So I'll talk specifically about how the book came about. The book came about because John called me one day with this proposition that Lee and Low Books offered him, and to draw this graphic novel. And we were talking about, we went back and forth about it, and our fans had wanted us to do graphic novels, and they'd asked us when we were going to do a book, when we were going to, make some of the characters that we had been, creating for gallery exhibitions, when were they going to appear in books? And so when John asked about doing this, he was like, I got this proposition to do this book. I don't know if I'm going to do this, but if we do it as a two-person team, I'd most likely say yes to that. I'm like, well, I think we should do this. The subject matter is something that Black Kirby deals with. The subject matter is what our fans want us to talk about. And this is what we said we wanted to do. Yes, we don't have the time to do it, but this is the type of project that Black Kirby does. So this is a social justice project as a graphic novel. And it's the first Black Lives Matters inspired graphic novel. That's how this has been. I don't know of one before this, right? So it came about through that. John, like I said, John, and then we did it with writer Tony Medina. And when you're talking about this, I'd be happy to do a presentation on the process of making the book as well. I do a presentation strictly about the process of how we made that.
Definitely.
I'd be happy to come back and share that as well. But I don't want to give away too much about the book, because you're gonna read it. But when you see how we made it, and I give that presentation about the process, everything will make a lot more sense.
So yeah, so if you're looking at my screen now, you can see I got the hard copy. It's hard to see, but I have the Kindle copy too. So please, let's go support our community. And this is something that we're going to be reading. So you can go order it. Mine took longer than normal because we're in COVID or whatnot. I think it took like 8 days, or instead of my normal 2 with my Prime, but that's okay. I'm not mad. Just happy I got it. I actually also gifted it to my godson. His birthday was last Saturday, so I got him a copy too. So please, let's support each other. And you can do some reading before we get together, so you can know about the story. You can bring more to the conversations.
John,
it is. Oh, go.
I also want to add that you should be able to find that in your local library. Our libraries are closed now too?
Yeah.
Libraries are closed now too. Okay, so even inter-office library loans, things like that. okay, if this lifts, which it probably won't in the next few weeks, or if you don't have the opportunity to get it, when everything is back to a new normal, I do that in air quotes, you should be able to get this through your school library or local library, and of course, interlibrary loans as well.
All right, the time has come for you to go. We had a good time entertaining y'all. Anybody ever watched the old Cedric Entertainer show back in the day? That's where I got that from. Thank you to all of our artists, 10,000, Nikki, Deja, Incense, Nubia the artist, the Earthling, and then all of you that came and supported, whether however you found us about us, through Facebook, through me texting you, however you got on here. We just thank you for coming and spending time with us. And June 11th, so we do second and fourth Saturdays. So June 11th will be the next time that we'll be together, and we'll be starting this comic. I am Alfonso Jones. In the meantime, please order it. Let's support us. And yeah, Ant, you got any last words?
Sure, of course. Like I said, www.thegalactictribe.org is our website. You're welcome to explore that. We have blogs up. We'll talk about art. If you have an idea for our blog, definitely reach out to us. You can write something, or if you write yourself, you can promote something, or we'll put your writing up there as well. Donate to us. Our Cash App is #TheG-Tribe. So we appreciate any donations, and keep up with us on Facebook, the the Wakanda Alliance, and on Instagram at the Wakanda Alliance. That's where we post our Instagram posts and everything. So, and if you have any emails, reach out to one of us personally via Facebook, or if you have our email, shoot us a message. So we appreciate everybody coming out today. Y'all stay safe, enjoy the weather wherever you are. Get some fresh air. Don't get too cooped up in the house too long. If you're an essential worker, you're special to us. We appreciate everything you're doing. Happy Memorial Day weekend. If you're Army family, military family, we appreciate what your families have done for the service of our country. We appreciate you, all right? So it's all one love.
Yeah, hit up some family or friend that you don't normally talk to. Just, check on them, see how they doing. It's always appreciated. Yeah, and keep sending that love. So we look forward to seeing everybody June 11th. Y'all have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Great event. Nice
Bye,
to
guys. See you.